Beowulf, the Old English literary beast. Beowulf Sunday. I think that means be well. Most people dabbling in Old English poetry start and often end with Beowulf, and frankly, why not? Why wouldn't you? It's a great read, especially with the right translation. It's got monsters, heroic deeds, mead halls, and existential angst. But to truly appreciate the sheer audacity of this poem, to truly understand why it's not just a good read, you need to see it within the landscape of Old English literature as a whole. First off, let's acknowledge where Beowulf is, without a shadow of a doubt, quintessentially Old English poem. It adheres to the unwritten rules, to the very fabric of how these tales were spun and sung for centuries. It played the game and played it brilliantly. The alliterative verse. This is the bedrock, the very foundation of Old English poetry. Forget your fancy rhyming couplets, that came much later. Old English verse was all about alliteration, linking stressed syllables with repeating sounds.
Why gardena in jardarm theod kuninga thrum je frunon, who tha etherlingus ellen fremedon.
You can hear that driving almost percussive rhythm. It's not about the end of the line, it's about the stress in the middle. Beowulf is a masterclass in this, every line a thumping drumbeat marching onwards. Formulaic language and kennings, the poetic Lego blocks. Our Anglo-Saxon shops, poets, the bards, the storytellers, they weren't just making it up as they went along. They had a treasury of set phrases, stock epithets, and those utterly delightful kennings, metaphorical compound words, things like whale road, meaning the sea, bone house for body, and ring giver for the king. These weren't just poetic flourishes, they were mnemonic devices, verbal toolkits for bards on the fly, allowing for improvisation during oral performances. You'll see these everywhere. The wanderer and the seafarer are knee-deep in them, and Beowulf uses them with grand panache, elevating them into something truly sublime. It's like a jazz musician using established chords and riffs, but making them entirely new. Heroic ethos, loyalty, bravery, vengeance, the pursuit of glory and everlasting fame. These were the bedrock values of the Germanic heroic code that permeated Anglo-Saxon society. The idea of comitatus, the unbreakable bond between Lord and his loyal retainers, is utterly central to the poem's very being. The warrior swears allegiance, fights for the Lord, and expects glory and treasure in return. We talked about this again in last week's video. See glimpses of this in fragments like the Battle of Malden, a much later poem, but Beowulf takes these themes and runs with them, often right into the mouth of a fucking monster. Am I that this way, yeah? It's the very definition of warrior culture. Weird, that bloody grim fate. Weird. The Anglo-Saxons had a rather fatalistic view of the world, encapsulated by this concept of fate or destiny. Events were often seen as predetermined, influencing characters' actions and their grim acceptance of what's to come. Beowulf himself says early on, "Wyrd often spares an undoomed man when his courage is good." But later, he knows his time is coming. It's a recurring melancholic refrain in many Old English poems, a constant reminder that no matter how mighty you are, Wyrd is always on its way. And Beowulf's journey is steeped in it. No escaping fate, even for the hero. Oral tradition. Remember this. These weren't bedtime stories tucked away in books to be read silently by candlelight. They were performed, recited, and sung. While we have the luxury of reading Beowulf on the page today, imagine the shop. Perhaps in a smoky mead hall, fire crackling, light glinting of steel, captivating an audience with a rhythmic alliterative tales of heroes and monsters, of glory and gloom. It speaks of a completely different form of literary consumption entirely. It was theatre, history, theology, all rolled into one. So, if Beowulf adheres so strictly to these rules, plays by the old conventions, why do I call it a peculiar beast? My friends, because it breaks them too, gloriously. It is both a product of its time and a bloody revolutionary. Most Old English poems, what little has survived anyway, are relatively short, sharp bursts of narrative or lyrical reflection. We have The Ruin, a lament for the lost city, Simon's Hymn, a praise poem, And Beowulf? It's a behemoth, over 3,000 lines long. Its length and narrative complexity are virtually unparalleled amongst its surviving kin. Think of it as a sprawling cinematic epic amongst a collection of brilliant, poignant short films. It's a novel where others are short stories. That sheer ambition sets it apart. And this is where it gets fascinating, and quite frankly, a bit sticky. Beowulf is a gloriously messy, utterly brilliant blend. You've got your pagan Germanic values, the feasting, the glory, the grim, weird blood vengeance, rubbing shoulders with clear Christian alterations, references to God as the creator, mentions of Cain as the ancestor of Grendels, and a biblical flood of sorts. It's a tension, a push and pull between the old and the new. Was the poet living in a Christianized Anglo-Saxon England, trying to appeal to both sensibilities? Was he hedging his bets in a changing world, trying to bring the pagan myths into a Christian framework? Or merely demonstrating the struggle within his own society? Other poems might be more overtly Christian, but few manage this intricate, often contradictory dance quite so well. It's magnificent chaos. While many heroic lays often dealt with historical battles and legendary figures, Battle of Brunanburh, for instance, details a real historical victory. Beowulf dives headfirst into the fantastical. Grendel, his horrifying mother, and the dragon. Other works tend to be more grounded, albeit romanticized historical accounts or religious treatises. Beowulf's rogues gallery of mythical monsters put it in a fantastical league of its own. It's less history lesson, more epic fantasy adventure. While Old English poetry often focuses on outward actions, he smote the foe, they rode to battle. Beowulf occasionally offers glimpses into the inner workings of his characters. Think of Hrothgar's profound sorrows, poignant warnings to Beowulf about the fleeting nature of glory and the dangers of pride, or Beowulf's own reflections of his life and mortality as he faces the dragon, his final battle. It's not modern psychological realism, obviously. This isn't Hamlet, but it hints at a deeper understanding of character than often found elsewhere. It's not just a what happened, but what it meant to the men and what burdens it carried. It makes it feel incredibly modern despite its age. So, there you have it. Beowulf isn't just a masterpiece, it's a testament to the sheer audacity of its unknown poet. It is a masterpiece because it honours its ancestors. It embraces everything that came before it, all the established rules and forms, while simultaneously forging a new path, a daring new vision. It's familiar enough to belong, but audacious enough to stand entirely alone. It's a bloody good poem, no doubt about it. And understanding its nuance, its adherence to, and rebellion against the conventions of its time makes reading it all the more enriching. It's not just an old story, it's a living, breathing work of art that continues to spark debate, inspire artists, and challenge our perceptions of an ancient world. It shows us how fundamentally human fears, triumphs, and struggles remain consistent, whether you're facing a swamp-dwelling monster or a Monday morning. Not the same thing, but some people make it out to be. Now, if you'll excuse me, all this talk of Old English heroes has put me in a rather melancholic mood. So I think I'm going to go off and reread The Wanderer and wallow in some proper Anglo-Saxon gloom. Anyway, happy Fridays. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like the video if you like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Whenever that will be.